This is about an experience I had on a holiday once. So it's a little bit unusual as a topic, but hear me out. It's in a hotel I stayed in called it's called the Hotel Infinity. And it's owned by a man called David Hilbert. And I heard about it from a friend of mine, a guy called John Barrow, who recommended it to me. So off I went, to this hotel. He said, don't worry about booking a room in this hotel. They can always accommodate you. I went, right, what if it's full? He said, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. Just go and arrive on the doorstep and they will get you a room. Guaranteed. But fair enough. When I got there, I realized why my friend could be so positive about this. Because the hotel is not called Hotel Infinity for nothing. It actually has an infinite number of rooms. Try and picture that. You can't. You just gotta see it for yourself. Go there and see for yourself. But anyway, we arrived, and I went in and I went to the reception and go, have you got any vacancies? And the man says, well, the hotel is full today. And I went, oh, you must be joking. An hotel with an infinite number of rooms and it's full. But the guy said, but that's not a problem, sir. We'll accommodate you. You can have room 1. And I'm going like, well, hang on a second. If the hotel is full, how can I have room 1? He says, it's not a problem, sir. We just have to move our guests around a bit. The guest who is currently in room 1 will have to move to room 2, and the guest who is in room 2 has to go to room 3, and so on and so forth. I thought, yeah, that will work. Because, there's an infinite number of rooms, so no matter what your room number is, there's always going to be room number that plus 1. So you can always move. And by moving everybody up 1, room number 1 will become available, and that'll be my room. Great stuff, great stuff. So we settled in nicely when we suddenly hear the intercom. Attention, attention all guests. Can you take your belongings? Take your room number and multiply it by 2. That's going to be your new room number. Can you take your belongings and move to your new room number now? I'm going, what is going on, So phone reception, and I asked her, what's the problem here? Why do we have to move rooms? And the guy goes, well, very sorry about this, sir, but we've just got a booking for an infinite number of guests. So what we've done is we've taken all our existing guests and we've asked them to move to the room that is twice their room number, thus freeing all the odd room numbers, making space for this infinite number of new guests. And even though I was a bit ticked off by that, you've got to admire their ingenuity. So, it got settled in again, and this happened again, and again. At this stage, rather pissed off, So I phoned reception and said, listen, it's all well and good having this guaranteed availability, but this constant moving around is doing my head in, and I want to check out now and go to somewhere a bit more accommodating and a bit more modest. And man says, very, very sorry to hear that, sir. Is there anything we can do to change your mind? I says, no, you can't. This is too annoying. And man goes, oh please, because everybody who's in even rooms has done this now, and the hotel is only half full. And if our hotel is only half full, we're going to incur a serious loss. I'm going, yeah, well, first of all, this is not my problem. But anyway, the solution is obvious, isn't it? And man goes, what do you mean the solution is obvious? The hotel is half full. We can't conjure people out of nothing. And I go, no, you can't, of course not. But still, the solution is very simple. The only rooms that are currently occupied are all the odd number rooms, right? And he goes, yes, that's true. Well, I say, just tell everybody in the odd number rooms that they need to add 1 to their room number and then divide it by 2, and that's going to be the new room number. And the guy goes, sir, that is just amazing. And I says, well, it's obvious, isn't it? He says, no, it wasn't obvious. And thank you very much for that. In actual fact, we're going to give you a refund. I said, thanks very much for that, but it was a pretty simple solution all the same. So I picked my bags, And I leave my room, and as I walk through reception, I can hear it is bedlam. And they're all standing there, you know, with their hands in their hair and tearing their hair out and not knowing what to do. And I'm going, what is going on now, you know? First of all, am I glad that I'm out of this madhouse? But, you know, what is going on? So I go to the reception, and I go, I see you're all in a panic there. You know, what's the problem? And he goes, well, you know this Hotel Infinity that you've stayed in today, sir? I says, yes, I know. And he goes, well, we're actually part of a chain. And it's a chain containing an infinite number of hotels. And they're all Hotel Infinity, so they all got an infinite number of rooms. And I go, yes, right, so? And he goes, well, they've all had to close down, except for this one. And I go, yeah? Well, that leaves an awful lot of guests that have nowhere to stay. So we've been asked to accommodate all those guests, and all those hotels were full. So I see the problem, you know, you've got an infinite number of guests from an infinite number of hotels that now somehow need to be accommodated in one Hotel Infinity. How are we going to do that? And again, the solution came to me in a flash. Well, I said to the guy, you know what you do? You draw up this grid. You know, you've got a horizontal and a vertical, and it's a grid of squares. On the horizontal, you write out the hotel numbers. You know, number 1 is this hotel, number 2 is the next Hotel Infinity, the number 3 is the third Hotel Infinity, and so on and so forth. On the vertical, on the y-axis, you write all the room numbers. So then where the two, you know, where you've got like hotel number 5, room number 5, that would be the person who up until now wasn't staying in hotel number 5, room number 5. So you've written them all out in a grid, and it is clear that that grid obviously contains all the guests from all the hotels, because you've got an infinite number of hotels horizontally and an infinite number of rooms vertically, and every square represents one room from one hotel. And I said, you start at the top left, and you label that little square, so it's 1, 1, you label that 1. Then you work around that square. You go 2, 3, 4. You work around that square again. You go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's how you keep going around every square. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And ultimately you will have covered every square in your grid using unique room numbers, so basically you achieved your goal. Every person from all those hotels will be assigned one room number in your hotel, and the problem is solved. And so it was. Now, isn't that amazing?